Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind podcast for Thursday, April 28th, 2016. Coming to you from the recording studio today because I'm not really planning on going anywhere. I work from home and I don't really have too much of a need to go out. I might actually have to run an errand later now that I think about it, but I thought I'd go ahead and do this today on the in the recording studio. It's a little bit easier. I'm going to talk about today habit number 2 of from Steven Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I did habit 1 a little while back. Realized I neglected to give you habit 2. So that's what I'm going to do today. It is a little bit easier because I got it on ebook. I can refer to things that I noted. So habit 2 is called Begin with the End in Mind. And what he is talking about there is he says that everything that gets created is really created twice. You do it once in your brain, you do it once in your mind, and then you do the physical creation of whatever it is you want to do. And that's good and bad. In that, it does help you to make sure that you're doing what you want to do, that you are doing things properly. But sometimes you can get into wrong ways of thinking. And speaking, especially from a business perspective, you can kind of fall into thinking more like a manager than by a leader. And he defines, there's a saying by 2 gentlemen named Peter Drucker and Warren Bennis. They say, management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. And he tells a story of, you've got these managers and production people, and they are going through a forest. And they're clearing their way through the forest, and they're making, they're you got the machetes out, and they're clearing away the plants so they can get through, and they're pushing through, and the leader climbs up into the tree and looks above the tree line to see where they're going, and he yells down to the managers and the production people and says, "We're in the wrong jungle." And they say, "Shut up, we're making good progress." So that's kind of one of the things that we need a vision or a destination to know, so we're creating things properly, so that we're doing the right things, we're doing what we need to be doing. And that we got to constantly be checking out the environment that we live in to see what's changing from a business perspective and from a personal perspective. Because as circumstances change in our lives, in our work lives, we might have to adjust the vision that we are doing. And then he begins to talk about the importance of mission statements. And he actually recommends creating a personal mission statement. That's different from your work mission statement or the mission statement of your company, but a mission statement for what is the purpose of your life? What is it that you want to accomplish with your life? He calls it a standard for an individual. That is kind of like a personal constitution as far as what it is that you believe in, what you stand for, and that it builds a good basis then for decision making. If you're making decisions day to day in your life, you can mentally be matching that up to your personal mission statement and say, okay, is that the decision I want to make? If I believe all these things here in my mission statement, is the decision I'm thinking of making, does that relate to this? Or is that in conflict with this? In which case, maybe I should do a different decision. And he talks a little bit about some of the centers. He talks about finding your center. This is an area where I felt like the book kind of left me hanging a little bit. He talks about a lot of centers that are bad if taken too far. He doesn't really give any examples of or talk too deeply about which how exactly you're supposed to be defining your own center and making sure that your center is not detracting from what it is you want to do. Most of the things that he talks about are good things, but if you go too far with them, then they have adverse consequences. Like there was a family center. It's one thing to be involved in your family and love your family and all that, but it shouldn't be the whole of your being. And I think that's what he's getting out there. Money centeredness. I think most people can understand that. If you're centered around money, you're going to have problems. Work centeredness. Being the workaholic. That only lasts you so long. And it depends upon what you're doing. There are jobs and there are jobs. And there are places to work and there are places to work. There are some things where people are building something that's going to last. They're building a legacy. Like my wife working at the college, they're building the lives of these students. They're giving them the foundation for the rest of their lives. That's important work, and that has a real purpose behind it. Most of the stuff that I'm doing at work, it's got a shelf life of 3 to 5 years, maybe 10. I mean, it's not, it's important stuff, and we'll talk about this more when we talk about habit 3. There's a lot of urgent stuff, but I don't know how much of it is really important stuff. It's stuff that they need to do, but at the same time, I don't see it's not going to have like a lasting benefit, where you can really point to the success of the company and say, oh, that was because of those efforts, because we got this set of reports, because we did that. It probably helps, but it's much more buried in. You don't really have that direct tie. So work centeredness is a good thing to a certain degree. Like I said, most of these are like this. Possession centeredness. If you're all about your possessions, you're never going to be happy because there'll always be something else to buy. A new car, another refrigerator, or, new video game, whatever it might be. Pleasure centeredness. Just, always being one to do things that are fun and pleasurable and never wanting to do things that are unfun and unpleasurable. And then friend-enemy centeredness, which he says is typically something that's, young people tend to fall into more, where they're all about focusing on a friend. I've known of somebody that had somebody that I guess you could term an enemy, somebody they did not like. And for a while their whole life revolved around that person to a scary degree. I believe therapy was involved. It was intense. So these are things that you need to take in moderation. Self-centeredness, of course. If you're all about yourself, then you're gonna have problems. And he's talking about how we really want to create a principled life, that we will have a center that is principled, and from where we can get security and wisdom and guidance and power. He talks a lot about, because he's a Christian, about having a center of church, but not too much, because once again, something you can go overboard. You're all about, if you go too far, then it's not a good thing, because you're all about how you appear at church and feeling better than others because you're doing all these church things. So there are limitations. He had here's one good thing. He says, as a principled centered person, we're supposed to try to stand away from the emotions of situations, so that we can evaluate things with a clear head. That's one of the important things to do. And that's where the mission statement comes into play, because as I said earlier, that gives us the good basis for making decisions day to day, and also understanding what it is that we're trying to accomplish day to day. I thought I'd share just a little bit He shared a mission statement. This might be his own, I forget. And I'm just going to read just a chunk of this. My mission is to live with integrity and to make a difference in the lives of others. To fulfill this mission, I have charity. I seek out and love the one, regardless of his situation. I sacrifice, devoting time and talents to the mission. I inspire. I am impactful. What I do makes a difference in the lives of others. And he continues on. He talks about the different roles he has. And one of the things he talks about that I thought made a lot of sense was working on your mission statement by focusing on your roles, what it is that you do. So like he had husband, father, his work, I don't know what, your work persona, your church persona, your relationship to church and to God. There might be others, but it was very clear that if you go down and list your roles and talk about, okay, so what's my role, and just a short one line as far as what it is your role is, and then what is your mission for that goal. So if you're talking about the role of father, your mission is to bring up your children such that they're good, responsible human beings that aren't axe murderers. And so on and so forth, and go down the list, and that kind of simplifies the exercise of creating a personal mission statement. So it was an interesting chapter, gave you lots of good things to talk about. It ties very neatly into chapter 3. I'm partway through that, but that's another podcast. Anyway, I think I will let that be that for today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be talking to you then. So be seeing you.